Robbie went, "Oh, how you feeling?" I said, "I feel like shit." I said, "I just want to go home to bed." I lay back to the hotel anyway. They went, "Well, can you go again in a month or 3 weeks?" I think it was. I went, "Why? Yeah, what? Depending what?" They went, "UFC, 3 weeks." And I was looking around. Jack Mason was there, all the full team. I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you already had the contract. You didn't have to do this fight, but we knew you wouldn't pull out."
Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock 'em, ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls hot, rolls back, my flow sharp like a hacksaw.
Right, guys, we're back to the Tanked Up podcast. We're joined today by Welsh MMA legend,
Welsh gypsy legend,
the one and only creator of Gypsy Jiu-Jitsu, UFC legend, UKMMA legend, Mr. John Maguire. Thanks for joining us, John.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Right, John, you're in the UK for a couple of weeks. You said to me earlier off camera. Where are you living at the moment then?
I'm living the life in Las Vegas.
Are you out there full time?
Yes, full time.
Nice.
So
what are you doing out there?
Nothing. I was being a bum. Nothing.
How long you been out there for?
21 month. I was stuck there. I've just finally got my green card.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was just going to say, John, because your missus is from Vegas. Is that
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So,
yes, and I've got a 8-year-old son with her and all. So he's born there.
Can you understand you well with your accent, or?
Yeah. Well, he can now. He knows the words I say when I go put it in the bin. Of course, they used to say trash, but he knows all my words, and he can speak Spanish also because her side's Spanish. So he's gonna have a British twang with a Spanish accent. He can speak and all.
Right. Take you back, John. You know. Me and Jack have known you a long time. We've had a great relationship. We were all the way back from when Jack fought in the IMAFs and he was on the coaching team. I think that was our first personal introduction to you. But obviously we were fully aware who you were. You know, one of the most established MMA fighters in the UK at the time, UFC veteran. Talk about your journey. How did you get into martial arts? Because I know you and your brother have trained together for a long time. So just give us your story on how you got started and how old you were, where it was, and so on and so forth. Because if you don't mind me saying, like a lot of the traveller community, they get into boxing. Obviously, MMA is not something that you see many of the travelling community getting involved with.
Yeah, well, when we see it, it's actually my dad. Like, so we brought up around in the gypsy travelling community about fighting, all about fighting in our community, how to deal with things. And then my dad said, "Oh, I see this thing where they're fighting on the ground," and he knew someone who was doing this jiu-jitsu thing. He didn't know what it was called at the time, but he said they're rolling on the ground and he's choking people out. And this was better now. And I started looking and watching old school MMA. And then when I really got into it, me and my brother, was early 2000s with Tito Ortiz versus Ken Shamrock. Don't remember. UFC Vendetta. I still remember clear as day.
Vendetta, so I remember that.
I remember it clear as day. And we bought the DVD, so it already happened. And we thought, we'll watch this DVD. And from there, seeing Tito was like, yeah, but we got into it then. And then I found a place called in Kettering, where not far from where I live in another town. It was called Kettering Shoot Fighter. So shoot fighting. And I thought, that's what Ken Shamrock does. So I went along to this beginner's course, 21, by the way, so I started late. 2021, I started real late. A fat bastard, drinking full fat Coke and eating kebab, so out of shape, fat bastard. And turn up, and this little man, I remember his name was Dave, tied me up in knots. And I was like pretty biggish, and I couldn't believe it. And then I just kept going back, and he kept tying me up in knots. And then I started picking it up, and my brother come along. He was young, and we started loving it, learn all this groundwork and this and that. And then within a year or so, I'd outgrown the place, and the coach went to me, said, "Well, we don't have any fighters here." And he was like, but I can send you somewhere. I know who's affiliated with us. You might know him. And I was like, there's a guy called Rob Olivier. Robbie the Flame Olivier, that you'll probably know me.
Yeah.
I know G. He said he's affiliated with the shoot fighters and stuff through Sweden now. I went, all right then. he was actually closer to where I lived. I didn't even know. And anyway, I went along to Rob, me and my brother, with Pierre, Lee Dosky, a load of OG guys. And yeah, I turned up. I thought it was the big man because I'd outgrown my other club. Turned up there. I got thrown on my head so many times because it was all judo guys. And of course, Pierre was an American who could wrestle. I got destroyed. And I thought, and there's this guy called Chris Elton. I remember clear as day. He's still a good friend now. He was a judo guy, high level. And he went to me, looked at me dead in the eyes. He said, "Oh, I'll go with you," but pointing at me. And I was pretty big. And I thought super confident. He probably tapped me 10 times in about 5 minutes. And I didn't know it, like, with everything. And I remember going home saying to my brother, I said, "Oh, I got abused." And I was like, I didn't know what to do. And to this day, I've still never seen that man, Chris Elton, being tapped. I'll give him what he runs a Wisbech MMA club now from my town where I live. And I've never seen him get tapped. He's older now, but I never see, even with high level fights coming. Remember Ninja and Shogun?
Yeah.
Ninja come in back in the day when he was in Pride and went with Chris and it was going at it. Boom, boom, just on the ground. And Chris couldn't strike or anything, but jiu-jitsu, judo, Ninja couldn't even tap him. Ninja outweighed him by about 10, 15 kilos back then in the day and could not tap him. And Chris was handling his own, so he was just a specimen. But from there, yeah, that sort of career I took.
For back in the day, John, I was an high-quality gym. Some of the names, I know Lee Dosky really well. We've competed against each other. Lee, credit, I think he's the same age as me, 54, 55.
He's up there.
Yeah, and he's still competing jiu-jitsu in the gi and no gi, even at his age of black belt. I got a lot of time for Lee. And a character as well. One of the characters back in the day, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, Lee, like I said, Lee's been there from the start and all. The funny thing is, again, I met Lee. I was on an Eric Paulson seminar. I heard about Eric Paulson back in the again. I was coming up. I knew all these people were. Me and my brother went to an Eric Paulson seminar, but Lee Dosky was there, so I didn't know Lee at the time, and he was there. And then we all went to a big McDonald's afterwards. Again, me being a fat bastard. But Lee's in there. And Lee had already had loads of fights with Dan Hardy, broke his arm back in the day. I learned all this afterwards. And Lee goes to me, but I'm giving it a big one. I sound like one of these keyboard Muppets back in the day. I'd been training a while. And I go, yeah. And he was on about Paul Daly and this and that. And I didn't know any of these guys at the time. I knew who they were, but I didn't know them personally then. And he going, "Oh, yeah." And I go, I'd beat him. I'd smash him. And then but Lee's there looking at me in the face. And Lee stops and looks at me and goes, well, how many fights you had then? In MMA? I went, "Oh, I've had no fights. I've just been training." And I could see the rage in Lee's face because I've been bad mouthing everybody, talk like what the people I hate now talking shit about. I was that man, but the fat version talking shit. And Lee was foaming at the mouth. And I'd never even had a fight. I couldn't even fight. But yeah, that's my Lee. And then, of course, we become good friends. He was with Team Tsunami. He cornered me. I cornered him. I learned a lot from Lee. So Lee is the man. Still talk to Lee and see Lee now. He's over the other side of where I live now in England.
Yeah, he's a great guy. What was that the team you was with when did you go straight to professional rules MMA, or did you do any in the old days semi-pro or B-class pro, anything like that?
I had one semi-pro and I lost in about 30 seconds, right? Again, one of the semi-pro. The rules were back then, I don't even remember. You could do everything standing up striking.
Body shot only on the floor, wasn't it? Yeah.
But only body shots on the floor. But at the time, I was a wrestler. Want the ground and pound, but I couldn't hit him in the head. But he could. So I lost the semi-pro fight, and then I'll just go pro, right? So I don't know the logical thinking about it. But then going winning 9 in a row or 10 in a row as a pro, as a fat middleweight.
I was going to say, you started off in middleweight, didn't you? He was complete. Yeah. I remember watching your early days cage race, completely outsized by the opponents, but still picking up them wins.
Yeah, I said, I had a great run at middleweight. The thing is, I said, I didn't know much, back in the day, we didn't know much about weight cutting, even though Robbie and that said, "Oh, I need to go down. I'm too small for a middleweight." I go, "Oh, I'm fine." And then when I was getting on the scale and meeting some of these fighters, I couldn't believe the size of them, ripped, big. And there's me, fat, didn't really cut weight. I just walked on it. If I did want to cut weight, I just stopped eating and drinking the night before. That was the method. Just nothing else. And then as I was picking up these wins, I was picking up these wins. The guys were getting tougher. Like I'd fought Jake Boswick, who was a specimen, like the young kid.
Massive.
But then I fought a guy
dead off, wasn't he, at the time as well?
Yeah. And I fought Jake Boswick on my fifth fight as a middleweight, fifth fight. And I remember the first fight I had with him on Cage Rage, Contenders, whatever it was. I remember going into that fight and fuck me. I said, he was younger than me, but he's like specimen, like a little bull. And he kicked me 3 or 4 times in the first fight, leg kicks. And I'd never been leg kicked before. And it started hurting, and I ended up picking up a TKO victory on him, which they didn't like. I crucifixed him. And the ref tried to restart the fight and everything. And Pierre, he was like, no, we're not restarting. You've declared John the winner. He's not going back. Because, that adrenaline dump. But the next day I got home, I couldn't walk. Like for 2 days with these leg kicks. I only took 3 or 4 leg kicks. And my mother was like, she said, what's the matter with you? I said, someone kicked me. She said, what? Someone kicked you? You can't walk. I said, it's the hardest I've ever been kicked. And of course, they wanted a rematch. And I gave them the rematch the following few months. And then I submitted him even quicker. But yeah, I was too small for a middleweight. Then I fought a guy called Chris Rice. Do you remember Chris Rice?
Right, I remember.
OG?
Yeah.
He was the biggest bastard I ever seen when I was in there with him. I was like, and I couldn't believe he was. I just couldn't believe it, how big he was. And then, of course, I run into Tom Con Watson.
I remember watching that fight.
And to be fair, and he says it all the time, I was whooping Tom, like back and forth. And I broke my arm in the second. I didn't tell my corner, because in my head I thought, I've just got to hang on one more round. I'm going to win a decision. But I couldn't even lift my arm. And in the fight, I've got the clip. He slips over. I run to throw a punch, but all that goes, my shoulder goes, but my arm doesn't follow. So because it snapped it clean in half. And then later on, I try to grab him and I pull him, and then it popped out. Right. And I remember in the fight, with even adrenaline, I went, fell to my back, and then the ref waved it off and put it as a TKO. But it was and I've got a plate in it still to this day, thanks to Tom. And I trained with him since then and done loads with him. But he said, Jude was in his corner, said, we've got to knock this kid out because he's winning, the fat guy. And then after that, that's the drop down. But I was way undersized.
John, I was going to say, obviously, you said coming up earlier, you was known as like a real good wrestler, grappler. Being from the Traveller community, have you ever done any boxing as a youngster? Because especially in Wales, well, I'm pretty sure it's nationwide. A lot of the good level amateur boxers in the UK, a lot of them tend to be travellers because they're doing it from sort of 4 or 5 years of age. Have you ever dabbled in boxing or been to the boxing gym, anything like that?
No, not when I was younger. My brother did but I was more into kicking, watching Van Damme. Right. I'm gonna be honest, watching Van Damme this now. I want to be more. I didn't want to just be able to punch, but all my cousins, loads of people I know loads of travellers. Like one of my cousins was the best in the country at the time. Like at his weight, a guy called Michael Maguire back in the day. He'd won everything, and I just wasn't into boxing. And I fell in love with the grappling and wrestling. And when I first got into it, and the other travellers, gypsies, found out about it, they said, you're rolling up and down, you're fighting like women. They still think it's fighting like women when you're fighting on the ground. And then as I got more known, winning my first few professional fights in my community, I'd be going to parties and stuff, because I can't help myself. A few drinks. They knew who I was. I was well known anyway around my area. And they're going, you do that cage fighting, don't you? And I go, yeah, it's all right. But I didn't like talking about it. Well, because they get drunker and drunker, and they'd be going, well, can you actually fight? And I used to go, well, I'm too good for anyone in here. Because I couldn't help myself. And I didn't drink or anything. But my father always said to me, don't be talking about fighting or anything when they go, because they'll try it. And they did. They used to think it's fighting like women. And a few times they wanted to have a go. But I put them in the places when I had to.
I was going to say, yeah, I can imagine more than one side ended up having to take a boxer down and choke him out. No.
Yeah, but even like that, yeah, they just didn't understand. And now, as the sport's got bigger, I know a fair few travelers, gypsies, doing it, and a few got brown belts. I just heard another fella got a black belt, so he's probably the second or third traveler I know who's got a black belt because I was the first, of course.
You was the first, yeah. Who else after you then, John?
I forgot the fella's name. There's another fella, but he's up further up north, and they said he's got it, but I can't remember his name. My brother's a brown belt. The problem we had, as you know, when we started, they wouldn't belt us because we wouldn't put that gi on. Because you think if we're training MMA, wrestling, everything else, I never had time to put the gi on. And then, of course, later on, I was going to a boxing gym. I did do a lot of boxing. I've been with the same coach now 16 to 17 years, St. Ives Boxing Academy, Steve Whitwell. His daughters are real good boxers. He's got produced real good amateurs and that. So I've been with him. So that helped my boxing get to the next level. Because I do like boxing, but I like the whole aspect of MMA.
Yeah, you obviously had your black belt a few years ago, didn't you? Over in 10th planet, probably a lot later than you should have had it.
Yeah, because 11 years, a white belt, 12 years. I remember meeting your dad back in the day. Like, I remember I come with Josh Palmer. Yeah. What was I still then? A white belt? Or
yeah. And if you remember, John, I was with you and your brother at the British Open. You was a white belt and you'd entered the black belt.
Yeah.
Heavyweights, I think it was. And I think you lost a ref's decision in the final to Dan Strauss, who was one of the most established black belts in the country at the time. And still, you know.
And everyone thought I won, even me, even Strauss, because I took on Strauss twice in two different events as a white belt, and I beat him twice. But the ref to give him a decision, to give him an advantage, which, how could I give him an advantage? He never opened his guard. He was never on top. He did nothing. And everyone there watching was like, how? What happened? And yeah, I don't know. But yeah, as a white belt, and yeah, Strauss is still like, you know, he's well established in the jiu-jitsu world.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it when you went to Vegas then, John, that you first started grading in the belts in the no-gi system? Or did you have like a blue or purple before you went over?
No, I trained back here in Peterborough with a guy called, I don't know if you remember him, Fabio Ferrari. He's Cage War.
Yeah.
Brazilian, one of my good friends. He started leveling me up. I started putting a gi on, doing a bit with him. Oh, he went, I've got to give you a blue belt because you've been training long enough. And then I met Casey Holston, the owner of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu at UFC Belfast, I think it was. I was backstage helping Zach Cummins for a fight. I was calling Zach Cummins with James Krause and that back in the day. And I met this guy called Casey backstage, talking, fighting, and warming up backstage. Oh, he said, if you're ever in Vegas, look me up. You're welcome to come train anytime. And I was like, a matter of fact, I'm going to be there in a few weeks, and I'll stop by. And I stopped by. The rest was history. He had a room full of killers in there at the time. I turned up. He welcomed me. Sean Strickland was in the room. Curtis Jackson, like everybody was in that room. And so I just started training. And I went with one of his coaches, a black belt. I start rolling with him. Anyway, I'm rolling with the coach, and I tapped the coach, but it's respectful, moving around, because he was trying to put it on me. And then we sat to the side, and they go, oh, and the coach grabbed me again. Younger than me, the coaches, and he grabbed me again. He went, oh, we'll go again. But then my brother went, watch him, talking between ourselves. He said he's going to try and put it on you. And he tried to put it on me again, going for it, trying to rip my leg off, everything, and still couldn't get me. And I was all over. And then Casey stopped and went afterwards, what belt are you? Well, I went, well, I just got a blue belt. He was like, no fucking way. No, I said, no fucking way. Anyway, then the rest, I started training. He started leveling me up. Back here, I started getting leveled up. So I've done both gi and no gi, leveled up. And I got a black belt here before I went to America. I think nearly 3 years now. I'm a black belt, coming up to 3 years this year. So I'm due my first stripe, right?
Good stripe in 3 years, bud, yeah.
And then this year, Casey and Eddie Bravo give me my black belt, and they backdated it to match that, because they already recognised me as a black belt anyway. So, but it was good because it was the 10 Planet Summit. So all the teams were there, legends there, like some high level and OGs. And yeah, they give me my black belt. And so, and again, I wasn't expecting it, but they was like, here's your black belt. We backdated it. We recognize you. So,
What's your most accomplished belt? Your black belt in jiu-jitsu or your pink belt in gypsy jiu-jitsu?
well, I got to say the pink belt, right? Because you think they always just say, "Oh, you need belt, you need your belt," but then I'm submitting everyone. And also another little fact, you probably I have the most submissions in UK
Seen
pro
it. I seen
MMA.
it
Yeah.
on Instagram the other day. Yeah, yeah.
It's fact because I'd already checked this before, and I was, oh, I'll wait, and then someone else brought it up to me, and I double checked. I've been in the league now about 9 years, I was, and no one's close. I think there's a two away from me, but I haven't fought in 6 years because someone messaged me. I'll beat your record. I said, you wanna? I haven't had a fight in 6 years, so you want to beat it?
I want to ask about obviously that moment when you realised you'd signed for the UFC. Do you want to talk to us? Where were you to? Where were you training? What organisation was you fighting? How did that come around?
Well, I tried to get into the Ultimate Fighter, as you know, because I was on a good run, had a few belts, and so there was aware of me. My brother had a little go at the Ultimate Fighter. He's a baby though, you know. He's 18. Still, like he got. Don't remember. He got to fight in the house, but he lost in the to before getting in that. Remember, there's a knockout stage.
Qualifying to get in
Yeah.
there.
So he had the fight and it didn't go as well. And they flew me back a few times to America back and forth for the Ultimate Fighter, you know, to Vegas. They flew me even as a champion. And everything was going well and good. And I think 2 or 3 times they flew me back and forth. But it was the season I was trying to get in the follow. It was Michael Bisping's season. And I forgot one of the seasons he did. But they ended up picking some Wolf Slayer guy. Remember, he's with the Wolf Slayer. They picked that guy. I can't remember that. I think he was terrible anyway. I can't remember who it was. But you never see him on the show. He made it to the show, but he must have been that bad. You never really see him. He was terrible. And I said to him, that's your own fault picking someone who sucked. So then that upset me, pissed me off, as you know, not getting picked. That's been back and forth. Three times I've been to Vegas. They flew me and back and forth. And I was like, I'm in. I thought I'm in. But yeah, then they chose this guy. So it pissed me off. And then I come back to England, and then I said to Dave, who run Cage Rays, I said, listen, Dave, I don't want your bums. And I was the champ. I said, find the guys with the best records, highest level. I want to fight them. And I said, Dean Amazinga's just come out, had a stint in the Ultimate Fighter. Get me Dean Amazinga. He went, I don't know if we can afford him. You know, I said, listen, give him my I'll fight for free. Get Dean Amazinga, right? And Dave did. I got paid virtually no money because I wanted him. Of course, he was the favourite, and he had Dan Hardy with him, Paul Daly, Andre Winner. He was the favourite, and I choked him unconscious, broke his nose, choked him unconscious. Then there's a guy. The next best guy I could get was a guy called Peter Irvin. Do you remember Peter Irvin?
Irvin, yeah.
Dave was like, he said, I don't know that Peter is. He's up north somewhere. He said, he's not going to sell any tickets for me. I said, again, Dave, I'll fight for nothing. Get him. He had a big record and he beat Dosky. Remember? He beat Dosky.
He was a good fighter back in the day.
So I took that fight, and in the meantime, so that would have been my 3rd or 4th title defense. I took that fight, but my team had been approached by the UFC to me to take the fight in Birmingham. That's where I made my debut, then I remember. But this was, my fight was a month before with Peter Irvin. But my brother that day, so they told, here's how what they told, they got the news, but they didn't tell me. Because they told Robbie, and my brother knew about it, if John doesn't have to take this Peter Irvin fight, the fight I had, they didn't know, just said he still got the fight in the UFC. But if he loses the fight, he doesn't get the UFC contract, the fight. So they didn't tell me, because I know how proud I am. I wouldn't pull out the Peter Irvin fight, because it was a day before. I'd made weight and this and that. So they kept it quiet. So I didn't know nothing about the UFC. So I went and I woke up the day of the fight and I was ill and all, and didn't feel too good. I felt like shit, to be fair. And I went in and ended up winning the decision. And I walked out the cage, and me brother went to me, and Robbie went, "Oh, how you feeling?" I said, "I feel like shit." I said, "I just want to go home to bed." I lay back to the hotel anyway. They went, "Well, can you go again in a month or 3 weeks?" I think it was. I went, "Why? Yeah, what? Depending what?" They went, "UFC, 3 weeks." And I was looking around. Jack Mason was there, all the full team. I went, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you already had the contract. You didn't have to do this fight, but we knew you wouldn't pull out." And and I went to look at everybody. I went, "Well, do you think I'm ready?" Because I doubt myself after the performance, and the adrenaline gone. So I wasn't that excited. 'Cause they went, "Think you're ready? You've defended the title 3 or 4 times. You're 16-3. You're on a 7 or 8, 9 win streak, and you don't think you're ready." They went, "Of course you're ready." And I was like, "Let's do it then." And that was it. That was the
Was it a one fight deal or was it a multi fight contract? What was you offered first off?
four fight deal straight away.
Do you mind if I ask, John, what sort of purse they offered?
Oh, listen, what sort of purse?
Yeah.
6 and 6.
6 and 6.
6 and 6.
You want to? I'll tell you a fun fact as well. Is it was Justin Edwards, wasn't he?
Yes, again, and a small world. I met Justin Edwards because I was in the Ultimate Fighter tryout things with him. You know, the season he got in.
Yeah.
That's when they flew me back, and we had dinner together, breakfast. We hung around for the full week I was there, so I knew him. Tony Ferguson was hanging all together. I was going to be in that season. I thought that's the season I was going to get in, but never happened. And then, of course, he's my first fight. So we knew each other.
But fun fact, me and him was actually in the crowd. I was 17, I think it would have been, or 6. I was actually, no, 16. I was coming up 17, and it was my first time going to a UFC. It was in Birmingham, wasn't it? And and we never been to anything like it before. We'd been to Bama and stuff like that. And because did he get knocked down in the first round?
Yes.
Yeah, and then you come back and subbed him. Yeah, I remember it because it fell on like a night. I remember I think pretty much every British guy on the card won. Because the atmosphere, because like Perry Vaughan Lee fought.
I think the only loss was Brad Pickett against
Burrow.
Burrow.
Yeah.
Which Browl at the time, as you know, Browl was a killer. Yeah. So again, a lot of people probably wouldn't have done that, but when my team knew about, I would have had the fight anyway. Probably would have said, "Listen, you're not doing this fight. You're in the UFC." But they know I'm a stubborn bastard when I start and I'm not gonna pull out the day of a fight all day, but just because I got offered the UFC. So my team believed in me that much, and my brother took a big risk because, of course, if I would have lost, no UFC and probably a different route altogether. You know what I mean? And yeah, I remember making my UFC debut, and I remember it was Jack Mason, Robbie Olivier, and my brother Tommy always in my corner, and I'm backstage ready to walk out. I felt so sick, like nervous.
Yeah.
Running to the toilet, and I said, I thought I was going to have an heart attack backstage. Like, I said, nah. And it was like, "Pull it together, man. What you doing?" Like, my brother's going, "Stop, you useless cunt. What you doing? Pull yourself together." I was like, I did. I remember then making that walk. Once I made that walk and made that little, that was it. I was good. But yeah, within the first minute, as you know, I got kicked in the nuts twice, knocked out, woke up in a choke like he was trying to guillotine me. Because remember, his last fight, remember the guy they called the dentist in the UFC? What's his name? Josh Neer. He guillotined Josh Neer, who was no slouch, and choked. He got sub of the night, Justin Edwards. He'd already guillotined him. And I trained, I watched a few of his tapes and had to watch his guillotine. But I woke up in his guillotine. And ended up getting out, and I won. It was a decision in the end. I ended up beating him by decision. But I won 30-27, even though I got knocked down in that first minute. Nearly finished. And yeah, and of course you've heard the story. The funny story about that is when I got knocked down, I don't remember getting hit, but when I woke up, all I could hear was my brother screaming. And it's true, "What you doing? Useless cunt. Useless cunt." Grab him. And you go and grab him. "You fucking useless. Grab him." Like saying, "Hang on." And I'm like, in there, I'm going, I am older than him. What do you think I'm trying to do? But I remember shouting at the corner and all. I'm talking back to him, like, and hold on. I said, what do you think I'm trying to do? You know, like, but you're in the fight.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah,
What was that feeling like having your hand raised? You know, first UFC fight, winning, and in the UK? Because I felt the atmosphere at that event was unreal,
Brilliant,
wasn't
yeah.
it? For every British guy, I felt the
it,
support was
it,
unreal.
it was unreal. Like I said, it was one of like it's still my favorite fight, my debut. It wasn't like I don't think it was even my best fight, but that's the fight what stands out to me because the build up, how I got there, the situation, winning, and then seeing loads of people. Even Jake Boswick. I remember Jake Boswick was cage side. Somehow got cage side. As I come out, I'd already fought him and beat him twice back in the day. Him and his dad was there, shaking man, and like loads of people. It was amazing. Backstage, I probably shouldn't say this, but backstage, we got backstage, me, Jack, Robbie, backstage. Jack bust out crying. Mason, you know Mason. He's a big sort. He's a legend in MMA. He's had 50 fights, right? He starts crying because that's how much it meant to us all. Because I was the first, and we worked so hard, and I was on a mission after the Ultimate Fighter fail out to just to get to the UFC. That was the goal. Just fight the top people, get there, and finally happened for me. And that it was a big deal, but great times.
What was your toughest opponent in the UFC?
Tough as opponent. Well, it. I don't know. To be fair, I know I lost the three decisions, but I won't say they were tough. There was a shit fights.
Yeah.
And like there's thingy, not very good fights. Like Hathaway, I trained with Hathaway before. That's probably the worst fight both of us have ever had. I would have fired both of us. Okay, it's a fight like, oh, that was terrible. But I don't think I was ever outclassed in the UFC. Just my performance. And Jack, you know, and you both know this. Sometimes things just don't go the way you think it is, or you just have a bad night. And the people Yeah, and the people on the outside don't realize. It's like we can have a bad night, a bad day at the office, say, and then we've got to go months and months just thinking about it, and we can't go in the next day to make it better. Where if we have a bad day at work, the next day could be even better day, and people just don't understand it. It's still a job, and everyone can have a bad night or a bad day. Sometimes a couple of times in a row, but people just don't understand. But I don't know, the toughest. Probably Justin, because he was tough, even though I did end up winning the decision. Or the fight afterwards, the Marcus Johnson was pretty tough because I got caught in a few submission attempts in that fight and in deep ones, and I managed to get out. But
That was the armbar for Kimura, wasn't it?
yeah, that
And
was it. Yeah,
I remember seeing that on the TV. I remember seeing John do it, and I remember, and to this day, I still use that defense to the Kimura. I never been taught, I'd never seen it before, and I remember thinking, what the fuck did he? Because I remember thinking he's in a Kimura, and the next thing he's spun on an arm, and I remember thinking, how the fuck did he do that? And I remember watching it back, and to this day, every time I'll let people go for a Kimura from me from bottom half guard and spin around on the armbar.
It's probably the most famous of that was Matt Hughes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Matt Hughes pulled it off in the title fight, didn't he?
yeah. Because I think before that it was Kukusi Sakuraba.
Yeah.
In the UFC early days, he was the first. Then it was Matt Hughes against GSP,
SP.
and then me.
Yeah.
So in that counter, but yeah, that was the thing is what pissed me off is I knew that counter because I'm a Kimura man. So Kimura, I feel comfortable there. But I always normally put them back in the Kimura instead of going all the way around. I switch because I wanted a Kimura finish, but at the time I just went for an armbar. I wasn't even thinking I'd get the finish. I just thought I'd go for the armbar and then end up getting a tap. But yeah, I really wanted a Kimura because just the way I am.
I tell you one of your fights that stands out to me is, and it was just after we did the IMAF in 2015. So obviously we knew each other quite well. It was 2016, I think. It was on Made for the Cage, and you fought Colin Fletcher, Freak Show. And I remember a couple of boys in the gym, a couple of my mates, all remember Freak Show from the Bama days. You know, he's coming up with the clown mask. And they were like, that fucking Freak Show's fighting tonight. And I remember saying, yeah, he got a tough night. He's in against John. Like, no, he's got no chance. He shit on that Freak Show. He shit on because he beat Tim Newman and he beat real good names. I remember watching the stream and same there. We ended up dealing with him quite comfortably. I remember saying to the boys, I told him so, because I knew like I remember Colin was a good striker, but he was mainly known for his ground game. And I remember thinking,
Yeah.
like, to go in with a grappling game plan against someone of your level, and I'm thinking, no, it's not gonna plan out very well for him.
Yeah, well, like I said, again, he's a great guy, this and that. But I knew fighting Colin, like he was on a bit of a roll himself. Then he was the champ. He beat a couple of other people, and again, the fight was offered to me, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And I knew him being a bony guy and this and that. I said to my brother, I said, oh, this is a fight. I said, I definitely can. It's a fight I can win, but I'm probably going to get cut up because he likes to elbow and this and that. And then I went to the fight, and I remember the venue they had it in was so hot and stuffy wherever it was. It was hard to breathe in there, and the mat was so slippy. Like it was just it was horrible in there, and it was hard to breathe. And I remember in that fight after the round, I thought, oh, getting a bit hot and sweating, like I couldn't breathe. And then he's thrown elbows from his back and cut me here, cut me on top of the head. So he did mark me up quite a bit because I knew he had them bony elbows. But yeah, he went for a Kimura on me again. And I was like, and I stepped round for another armbar, like the same counter. Because I thought he's not, and even Ian Freeman picked it up. He's going for a Kimura on, because he's the commentator, on John. Probably not the best idea.
And that's it, yeah, because I remember the finish. I remember thinking, hang on, I've seen this before. And then as he goes for the Kimura, he stepped round in the exact same armbar that we seen.
Yeah.
Are you do you still keep up to date with the UFC now, John?
Yeah, not as much to do, but I do follow it. And of course, being in Vegas, I know a lot of guys who fight, and I follow along. And some still train. Of course, Allen started with us back in the day with Jack Mason. So yeah, he's fighting next week. Next weekend.
Carlos Paddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a tough fight, and he's all gonna be tough for him. He's ranked 6, Arnold. So, but the crew's going to be all back there next week. So, Luke Barnett's going to be in town then because he's there for something. I forgot why he's there. But Jack Mason's going to be in Vegas for Arnold. So, yeah. So I still keep up with it. I love fighting and sport. Don't get me wrong. There's shows every week. So I don't know every fighter like I used to. Because back in the day, me and my brother used to keep buying all the DVDs. I think we got from UFC 100, UFC 1 to 100 on DVD. Might have a bit more. So still got them somewhere. We used to just collect them and used to know everything, every main event, co-main event, this and that. But now you know how it is. It's definitely more commercialized, right?
100%. Well, since your retirement, what we have noticed now is that you've taken up the mantle of attacker of trolls on social media. So let's talk about that a little bit because we think it's brilliant, don't we?
Yeah,
we messaged John's off again on Sunday.
I said my I apologize to our mum before I say this because she'd have watched them, but my new favourite saying is Muppet cunt. I've heard someone get called a Muppet, and I've heard someone get called a cunt, but I've never heard someone get called you Muppet cunt. And I messaged you during that time. I said, that's 100% my new saying I'm adopting, you Muppet cunt.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it just come to me because I don't really use the word Muppet, right? And someone's on about, and I hate it. I was like, oh, Muppet. I know what it was, and I always use cunt. My mother don't swear, and I don't say it in front of her. My mother's never sweared, and she hates the word, so she doesn't watch. I said, just don't watch any of my things. She's around there. She's around her place now. I said, don't come in on this interview because you might hear it. But yeah. I just come up, and I do like it now. It's like, oh, you Muppet cunt! Like, yeah, it just I think it just flows. So yeah, but it's one of the things. I sit there, and again, people don't know what we go through with this and that, and then you get all these idiots online talking all this shit. And listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's got an opinion, as you know. Opinions are like assholes. We've all got one, yeah? Just theirs stink and mine's better. That's all I got to say, right? So they want to talk shit about fighters and never done you've looked at some of these people, never done a thing in their life, never, because I get that one a lot. Oh, you're a has-been. I say, yes, I may have been a has-been, but you have never been. So I'm better to be a has-been than a never been, right? So you say what you like. And yeah, so I just started doing these little videos, and it sort of took off. I've had a bit of time off because I'm with the family. 'Cause I ain't seen my family for a while, so I didn't want to do anything. But as soon as I get back, I'll be up in it because I get loads of people sending me videos and clips about watch this guy said, look at this guy, as I said. And within a month, my Instagram doubled, like in profile. I didn't have a big because I wasn't that big on it anyway, but it doubled and I had like 1 million views in 30 days just from calling people cunts and muppets. And so I think there's something there, and I enjoy it because people go to me all the time. Oh, you're never going to be able to keep up with all these, and it's no trouble for me. I enjoy it. I thrive. I literally thrive on misery, I tell them. So it's all good to me. I'll call them muppets, cunts, whatever they want to be called. So it don't matter to me. And then a few will try and abuse back or try and be clever. And it's always people with no profile picture or egg. And my other thing is I say to people, if I call you a cunt online, I've got no problem saying it to your face. So I don't care who you are. If I call you a cunt online, I'll say it to your face. Don't worry about it. Where, these people online talk shit. If you're in a room with them, they wouldn't say things.
What you said about opinions, I get wound up. I'm a bit better now. In his early career, I was arguing with everybody. You can have an opinion, and I go, no problem. Somebody saying, I think your fight is going to lose, but there's a respectful way of saying it and a decent way of doing it. When you start slaughtering, oh, he's shit, and as you said, it's coming from people that have got no understanding of the sport, never been involved in a fight in their life. The one time he had a fight, and there was so much shit talk on him, and I screenshotted everything. And then after he won, I went back to every single person with a message and replied to their comment. Yeah. I'm a bit better now. I've grown up a bit. It's me to get my 50s before I started leaving him alone.
I told him he was getting like fucking Eubank Senior. I was like, fucking, it's all right. I can defend myself. You don't need to get in an argument with every troll in the comments.
But it is, they don't understand again. And I've had people mess with, well, what's wrong with someone's opinion? I said they're entitled to it. But they ain't got a clue. And I say to people all the time, like some people I know, well, what's your job? Like, if you put it this way, what is your job? And they go, oh, I'm an electrician, right? If they go to me, I'm an electrician. I go, well, I've never done anything like that. The only thing I've done is wire a plug, but I can do it better than you. I can do your job better than you. That's what they're trying to say, right? You get what I mean?
Good analogy. Yeah.
He's a welder. Well, I've never welded. You're welding shit. It's crap. I can weld better than that. I could do that. Never picked up a welder in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's spot on. And it's nice to have someone holding them accountable because, like you said, what I think they should do is on social media, to be allowed to have a social media account, you should have to provide your IDs so you know this is who they are, this is where they're from. So you get held responsible for your comments.
I think so. And again, they're all, well, there's nothing. You shouldn't talk shit online if you're not prepared to back it up or like face the consequences. Like I'm all for, whatever, freedom of speech, this and that. But again, if I call someone a cunt or I call you a cunt, I'll say it to your face, not just online. So if I'm going to talk it and post it online, you should know who you are, ID, who it is. Don't be scared. Don't be hiding in your mama's basement.
Problem is, we got a generation full of keyboard warriors now, John, that have never had a confrontation in their life. And I think the old guard like ourselves is just a dying breed. And I do dread what it's going to be like in 10 years' time, to be honest, mate. How bad it'll get, like.
It is, mate. Lad, my thing now is too many soft cunts. Too many soft cunts. And if you try to be a bit man, and again, I don't say I'm no alpha male because I don't use that. I'm a man. I'm just an old, like, a man. I've been brought. My dad was a strict man, but a good father, and brought me up the right way. And so I'm going to bring my son up and my kids like thingy. They need a little something about them. But like I said, people's too soft nowadays. There'll come a time you don't start fights, but you might need to finish them. Because how many times you've seen these things online where the men run off or pull a cat or don't say anything?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on here?
There was a video the other day, I think that was in the States somewhere, I don't know where, of a guy is like shopping with his missus and a fucking a thief and a robber is trying to snatch her bag And she's going back and forth for the guy. And her husband's just stood there watching. And you're like, what the? In what world are we living in where you're not just
You
going
don't
to
defend
start
your
the
wife,
guy out and worry about the consequences later? It's fucking crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, I know the one. I think I've done a video on it. It's like, yeah, imagine your wife, girlfriend getting robbed. She's fighting with him. You're sit there hiding behind a corner, looking. Right? I couldn't go. If I did that, I wouldn't be able to go home. My dad would have a bit of wood, want to beat me around the head with it. What are you doing? It'd be like, yeah, what you doing, silly cunt? You look at that. What you doing?
Man up. We're not out to say it no more, but I say it all the time. Man up, fellas. People, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Be a man.
Yeah, and it goes into all aspects. Like, even in the gym, like we have youngsters. We got quite a young team now, and we all sort of 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And even then, it's sounding like, oh, I took yesterday off. I woke up, I was a little bit sore from the night before. I'm like, fucking get. I used to wake up sore 6 days. The only day I wouldn't wake up sore would be Monday because I had Sunday off. Every day I'm waking up and absolutely get up and get back in the gym. Like what?
And you listen, Jack. Again, you've been around it. Some of these fighters now, they think they've got to add. Like they ain't got to add. There's more money in the sport now. There's more available training wise. More knowledge. There's more stuff around than there's ever when we was doing start, especially coming up. There's nothing around, and it was harder. And like I said, he didn't complain.
VHF videos with me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't have. We had to watch it, but yeah. We'd go in the gym. You couldn't say you're sore, tired, or cold. You just got on with it. We've trained in a ban when I started with Robbie, with holes in the roof and pigeons on the mat. And frost. No, they'll tell you. All the guys will tell you. You'd go in the gym. There'd be frost on the mat, like solid frost, and pigeons sitting on it. Well, it was that cold. And we had the old burners with the gas burners to try and heat it up. The amount of toes we broke, fingers, we didn't know till we got home, till we warmed up, that we broke a toe or a finger. That's how
the good old days. The
good old days. And my brother hated when we moved to a big commercial gym. We went bigger because he went to me. He said, "Oh," he said, "everyone's soft." He said, "There's no fighters here. They're all soft cunts." And he still says the same now. And I've got the fighter's name because I'll mention everyone. But I was in Vegas once, and he was on about being an athlete and this and that. And he was getting ready to fight in something. He's like, "Oh, I'm the perfect best athlete." Blah blah blah. I said, and I went, "Well, you can be a great athlete, all the athlete you want, but if you can't, you're not a fighter. You can be an athlete, but you need to have a bit of fight about you, don't you? You can be a good athlete, but you need to be able to fight." And he said, "The days of the fight is finished. It's all about the athletes now." I said, "You think that all you want, but no." And anyway. Long story short, he goes out there and gets knocked out, loses, gets beaten and loses. And he didn't, and I didn't say nothing. I won't rub it in, but again, when they say that to me, "Oh, the day of the fighters are finished. It's all about being an athlete now." Oh, fuck off, silly cunt.
We need a video on him, I think, don't we?
Definitely. We need a little video breakdown on him, John, online. That'll go down the treat, that will. Right, what do you want to finish up on, Jack?
Just to wrap up, John, just going to say what you got coming up, anything exciting in there? Obviously going back to Vegas now with your family out there, got your green card out there full time. Still training at 10th Planet and stuff like that. Anything coming up interesting in the next couple of months?
Like I said, I've been slacking a bit because I had back surgery and stuff. I don't know, I recovered from back surgery and still not the best. Not a lot coming up. I was pissed because I did my original goal in MMA, especially near the end of my career, was to get to 50 fights, and I'm on 39 pro fights, and I want to get 50. So that's probably out the window now because I'm getting on a bit too. But I'd like that one more fight. Get that just to get that 40, and not that. I wouldn't want to fight a can. I'd want someone up there about where I'm at age-wise, like late 30s, up there.
A nice fight against somebody similar age, similar experience. I think that would be brilliant, and I think there'd be a lot of demand to get that on a show.
SFC main event now in November.
Main event might show now in November.
I would listen. I'm free, like I said to Jack, because Jack runs a show, Cage Wars Academy, and all these. I'd like to fight. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how I'd be. I don't know if the body'd hold up because, like I said, my back's still not 100%. And then when you get in there after having 6 years off, the adrenaline dump, and it could be terrible. But I do want that 40th because like I said, 39 pro fights, 40 sounds better
That
than
would
that.
be nice, wouldn't it? Finish on the 40.
And then, of course, if I could get a sub to extend my lead a little bit
Yes,
further,
yes, yeah.
Prolong it.
because I was in my head now, I'm thinking, as soon as I see that, I think, oh, maybe I could get to 50 fights and get to 20 submit. Come on, 16. Maybe I could get it to 20. But then no one will catch me. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm always playing with it because sometimes I'll watch like the young fighters fight or even some of the old dogs fight and they're winning. And then you know how you are, I'm in the chair. I get excited.
Yeah.
Excited. I'm like, oh, and then some of these, and then some of these guys are trained within the gym. Some of these good fighters, high level fighters, and I'm still hanging. Like I'm there with them. I can cruise with some of them, and so get me. I know training's different, but oh, could I? Could I do it? Could I? I don't know. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
But
But
we'd definitely love to see that one more, I'll be honest.
Yeah, especially in the UK.
We'll come and watch it.
yeah, of course. Who would be the opponent though? That's what I think. Like someone up there. It's got to be in that late 30s up.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty to be bumpy, plenty of options.
Plenty of options. Some of the older school guys would be up for a Legends fight, surely.
Well, to be fair, I keep getting offered fights every month anyway, even against you. But it's always against some young buck.
Yeah,
I keep getting,
yeah.
but I said, what? No, I'm not bothered, interested in fighting. Leave me alone. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah. What, Jack? Same question to you. What? I know you were tired in that. What? Because you think you've done everything you want to do?
Yeah, I think for me, John, what it was with me, it was for the 10 years or 9 years I was a pro, it was always like, this is my one and only goal. This is my life. So everything in my life came second to that, like family, event, birthdays, Christmases, whatever, holidays. Everything always comes second because I was always very much in the mindset of I want to be UFC champion. If I can't become that, it's not going to be through lack of trying.
Yeah.
And I think when my boy come along, my son, it kind of changed my perspective on life a little bit in the sense of, well, to fully give to the sport what I'm used to giving means I've got to take away a little bit from him. And then on the flip side of that coin is to fully give, to be the dad I want to be to him means I've got to take a little bit away from what I would give to the sport. And I had a little bit of an unlucky run with injuries and stuff. I mean, the first, I won in UFC London. He was born in July and I ended up having about a year off because of an hand injury. I had surgery. And I think it gave me a little taste of normal life then to an extent of where I remember thinking in my head, when I go back into camp now, it's going to be a lot different with him to what it is now. And I think it kind of come down to motivation more than anything. It was sort of that mentally I'd started to, what do you call it, 1 foot out the door then. I started to check out from the sport a little bit. And whenever I'd listen to the greats talk and podcast, Joe Rogan, stuff like that, you kind of always hear him say, when you feel like your 1 foot is starting to creep out, it's probably best to get out. And I have always said from when I turned pro, I wanted to be done by 30. I obviously towards the end of my career, I started to think it's probably going to be a little bit longer. And I always wanted to say to myself, I always said to myself, I'm either going to be all in or not in at all. So if I can't give everything to it, and if my motivation changes, then I'll just pull the plug. And we had a little chat, didn't we? And after the fight in Brazil where I cut my leg, I kind of thought about it then. And he sort of said, you can do what you want, but I think you'll look back with regret if that's your last fight. And I remember for my last fight in Canada, I had a great camp. I felt brilliant in training, give it my all best I'd felt for years. And so it didn't get a result. And I was at peace with, well, maybe it's not meant to be. And I'm at peace with it now, nearly 18 months down the line.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very much at peace with my decision. I don't look back with regret. Like you, I have the occasional thought of, I'll spar with the boys in the gym and think, I'm hanging with them and can I do it? And then I have the harsh reality of then I wake up the next day after sparring and think, it is quite nice to not have to get up and go for a run this morning.
That is as it gets out. See, my thing was I never ever thought about retiring, but there was a period in my career where I was fighting just for the sake of fighting to get it's funny, it wasn't for money because money was shit anyway. Didn't need the money, but I went through a period and I remember my brother saying, sitting, he said, "What are you doing?" I went, He said, what do you mean? I had lots of things, whole other podcast I could go into stuff that would probably get me in trouble. But he said, he went, what you doing taking these fights and doing what, for what reason? I went, and I was taking them for a distraction of life, personal life, and this and that, you know what it is. And this sport, you say, can be very selfish. And I was a selfish person when I was a dad at 20, 21. My daughter now is going to be 21 this year. So I was a young dad. And in that period, me and her mother, like I said, was together a long time, but we always used to have disagreement arguments because I'd be away so much and training and this and that. And it did work out. I did like earn a good, decent bit of money from it and other things. But you're right. You have to be so selfish with family life because you're always in camp. You're always away. You're always at fight shows helping other fighters. Because how many times you see it, you've got fighters fighting. You got to be there for them. And then you had some fighters that had come only train when they had a fight, and then you wouldn't see them anymore. We used to kick them people out the gym. After, them ones who were just there for themselves. You had to be a team player, didn't you? And that was our sort of camp. But you're right what you're saying. It can be hard, especially family life, this and that. And
even at the top, especially at the top level, it's like even when you're not in camp, you're thinking about camp because you have that fight and realistically, you've probably got 4 to 6 weeks before they're going to offer you another fight. So you take your week off and then you're spending 4 weeks sort of half in camp, half out of camp, trying to keep your weight down, but trying to enjoy yourself at the same time. But it's always looming. It's like I say that to people. I hate it when people say, "Oh, it's not bad that much money for a night's work." It's like it's not a night's work. It's not even 12 weeks work. It's
52 weeks.
It's 52 weeks a year. It's when you've got a fight coming up, it's in the back of your mind all day.
Live it and breathe it.
When you haven't got a fight coming up, it's in the back of your mind of when they're going to offer me a fight. They're going to offer me am I going to wake up to a text? And I say this to the boys in the gym all the time. I try and give them a bit of advice. I'm like, it's the most MMA is like I always say it's a cruel mistress because it doesn't matter how much you love the sport, there will be nights where it doesn't love you back. Just to go back to my last fight, like I couldn't have done any more in the build up. If it was based on who done the most and what do you call it, crossing the T's, I should have had the result, but I didn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the nature of the beast that you're in.
the old remember, because I don't know if you ever met, was it Bert? Back in the UFC, I think he might have been gone when you got there, but he used to go, "Don't leave it to the judges because the judges will make you cry." And a few nights after judge the decision on certain fights, I wanted to cry. But yeah, there's a period in my time, fights I was taking, I shouldn't have bothered. I shouldn't have even been fighting because I wasn't even there. I was just training, and half the time I wasn't training. Like, for example, when I fought on the same card as you, I had the pleasure of fighting on the same card as you in Belgium. I took that on a week's notice.
That's right, I remember. Yeah. I always remember that guy because he fucking drove us back to the hotel. That's his Mercedes, didn't he? It's like, don't go on the bus, get in here.
Yeah, because I drove to Belgium. Because Cage Boys went to me, we'll fly to Belgium. I go, I don't like flying. I'm afraid of flying, but I'll drive. They said, we'll pay you expensive. They went, you really want to drive? I went, yeah, I'll drive. I drove all the way to Belgium.
There was six of us
in the car, wasn't it?
It was him and Tommy in the front. It was 4 of us in the back.
Yeah, well, I took that fight on a week's notice. I knew I was good for a round, maybe. I dominated the whole first round. I don't know if you remember it. All over Maddie's back. I went back to my corner. I got nothing left. I'm done. I said, I'm fucked. I can't breathe. I'm this and that. And as you probably know, Jack, as you get a bit older, I know you're still a young man, though. As you get older, it gets harder.
Oh, yeah. And I say to the boy, even in comparison to 24 when I was in Cage Warriors, I could train like a lunatic 3 times a day, 6 days a week and feel great. And even compare that to 4 years later at 28 and you've picked up a few niggles, it's a different ball game totally.
Yeah. And a few of them fights, like I said, some of them fights I think I could have won even when I lost the decision. And some of them fights I should have listened to my brother and said, don't bother. You don't need the money. You're not doing, because then if you used to think, oh, he's just doing it for the money. It was shit the money anyway. Yeah. I didn't need the money, and I just used to take them. So there's a lot of them fights I wish I could. Looking back at them, thinking I should have taken them, and I could have beat them guys. And now they're on my record where they've got a win over me. Well done to you. But most of them in my prime, I'm not just saying. I say it now. In my prime, when I was full at it, there wasn't good enough to hold my jockstrap.
Yeah.
That's a fact. They can say what they like. Not good enough to on my jockstrap. But it is what it is. It's part of the game. But yeah, now I tell young fighters and this and that. I go, well, you shouldn't be. This is what I do. Don't do what I did.
Do as I say.
Do what I say, nor I do.
I think that's
yeah. Way to end it.
That's a good way to end it. So, John, where can people find you on the social media side of things?
Instagram, Facebook, all that. Maguire one.
Maguire
So,
We'll put it in the caption on the video when we release it as well.
Yeah, if they want me to cut people called Muppet cunts,
and send them over. Any trolls you want dealing with, DM them to John.
Yeah, DM them to me because, like I said, when I get back, I'm going to start ramping it up because I've got some great ideas. I'm going to ramp it up and find all these things. Yeah.
Top man, John. Thank you very much.
Great to catch up, John. It's been too long. We'll stay in touch now, pal. Now I got your number. And
when I'm back, I want to come down to Wales and get some training in.
Yeah,
I'm always watching your training camps and stuff and that. And especially when do you still have your old men's training?
Yes. Yeah. You'll have an invite to that.
So, yeah, that'll be the plan. When I'm back, I'll be coming down. I'll be staying down in Wales.
Yeah, brilliant. Perfect. See you then.
Cheers, John.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you. Bye.